I am an ambitionist. And if I can leave this world starting a movement called ambitionism, I will. I guess I need to explain what ambitionism is. Ambitionism is not letting anything get in the way of your goals in life. And when I say that, I don't mean backstabbing your way to the top. I don't mean lying and conniving to get what you want in life. Ambitionism is not the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's not drama. It's not a soap opera. It's not politicking. When I decided that I wanted to do radio, I didn't know what kind of radio I wanted to do. I didn't know. I knew I wanted to do it. Had I decided that I wanted to be a baker, I would have sought to be the best, to run the best bakery that I can. Okay, here's ambitionism. When you look at the cost of labor, if you're trying to run a bakery, now there's a difference between running a business and being an ambitionist running a bakery. Yes, you have to know how to run a business, obviously. It's not just dictating authority to your workers and making baked goods and selling them. If you're in that, the cost of labor, when it's your own labor, you don't really quantify. You don't say to yourself, I'm only going to put out $7.15 worth of labor for my own ambition. You don't put a price on your own labor when you're dealing with your own ambition. What I mean by that is, if you're a baker, you want to run a bakery, and you're in the kitchen day and night trying to find the best recipes that you can concoct through trial and error, ignoring the cost of the labor that goes into it, knowing that when you succeed and people bite into that baked product that you made, that you have succeeded. And somebody who applies that logic of, because some people say, well, I don't want to do this. I mean, how much money? No. When I went into radio, I didn't look at the cost of my labor outside of the radio station when I was looking to improve my abilities on air. I also didn't look at activities that may be more desirable than work as more desirable than work. Case in point, I've said this a million times, it's just referring to the story. When I was in school at the University of Florida, everybody that I worked with at the radio station wanted Saturdays off to go tailgate and watch the game. I wanted the most opportunity to be on the air, so I volunteered to do everything that nobody wanted to do. I immediately established a relationship with management because I was the most reliable person at that point. They knew they could count on me. While everybody's hearts and minds were outside the radio station, if they were going to be on the air, they were going to be on the air, stuck being on the air. I wanted to be on the air. So I basically, when people said, who wants to be on the air on Saturday morning? My hand was the first one to go up. And I took as many hours as I could get. And I didn't vanquish my enemies. I didn't have enemies, but I eliminated my competition through hard work and effort and the willingness to do things that nobody else wanted to do. It's one thing economically to quantify the cost of labor, to even quantify the cost of your labor to somebody else. An ambitionist does not quantify the cost of labor for their own ambition. So if you're writing a book, you're baking a cake, you're building a home, you're designing a new car, you're writing a new program, you don't quantify how much it costs you in terms of labor to do it. You do it because you have an ambition of succeeding in the end. So if you have to work an 8-hour day and you get home and you're an ambitionist, you're not going to turn on the TV and watch Seinfeld reruns. You are going to get to work tinkering on whatever it is that you want to do, because the success of making your ambition, the fruits of your ambition come true are more important than the idle-minded time you'd spend watching a Seinfeld rerun on TBS. Very funny. See what I mean? That's what an ambitionist is. An ambitionist does not say, oh, man, people normally get $10 an hour to do that. Well, yeah, they get $10 an hour to provide labor to somebody else. You are not quantifying it because you are providing labor to your ambition. Whatever that ambition is, it could be running a restaurant, it could be a modeling career, it could be talk radio, it could be being a contractor. If you are sitting there night and day trying to figure out how to be the best contractor you can be, you don't quantify the cost of labor in doing it. Now, here's the thing about an ambitionist. An ambitionist is hard to like. You are hard to like, and you will be hard to date. Because an ambitionist will sacrifice. I have done things in my career that I can't say that I regret, but I know I hurt other people by not being at certain family functions or weddings, or because I was focusing the time that I had where my labor was solely the property of me to make my ambition come true. That's what an ambitionist is. That's what it means. If you want to know how it works, you ignore the price of labor to make your ambition come true. That's it. That's how it's done. That's what it means. So if you want to know what an ambitionist is, what ambitionism is, it is ignoring the cost of labor to make your ambition come true. That's what it is. 1-866-95-PATRIOT, 1-866-95-PATRIOT.